Hey man, the hardest truth most men have to face in today's world is that loyalty, the very foundation of love, is something many women struggle to maintain. We grow up believing that once a woman chooses you, once she says she loves you, that bond is permanent. But in reality, women do not operate in permanence. They operate in emotions, and emotions shift like the tides. What she feels in January may not be what she feels in June. What excites her today may bore her tomorrow. That is why so many men find themselves blindsided by betrayal. It's not that she set out to hurt you, it's that she lives in a world where feelings, not commitments, dictate reality, and when those feelings fade or shift, so does her loyalty. The root of this struggle comes from the emotional wiring of women. Loyalty for a man is often logical. I chose her, I made a promise, I stay. But for women, loyalty is emotional. I feel secure, I feel desired, I feel alive, so I stay. The moment those feelings shift, even slightly, her ability to remain steadfast begins to crack. And modern culture feeds into this weakness by telling women they're entitled to chase every impulse, every fleeting feeling, every spark of excitement. Society whispers in her ear, if you're not happy every second, you deserve better. If he isn't making you feel like a princess 24/7, he's failing. And so instead of grounding herself in the reality of commitment, she begins searching for the next emotional high. Social media has made this even worse. In the past, a woman's loyalty was tested only by the men in her immediate environment. But today, every time she opens her phone, she is exposed to hundreds of potential options. Men liking her pictures, sliding into her DMs, complimenting her beauty, offering her the validation she craves. Even if she never responds, the constant stream of attention chips away at her loyalty. Because in her mind, she begins comparing. Why settle for the man I have when so many other men seem eager to give me what I want? That endless supply of fantasy men becomes poison, making it harder and harder for her to stay anchored to one reality you. The struggle with loyalty also stems from women's relationship with boredom. Many women confuse stability with monotony. They say they want a good man, a provider, a loyal partner, but when they finally have him, they start feeling restless. They mistake consistency for dullness. They crave chaos because chaos feels like passion, and in that restlessness, their eyes wander. They start romanticizing the excitement of the unknown, the thrill of someone new. It doesn't mean they didn't love you. It means they confuse love with the butterflies they once felt. They can't accept that real love isn't always thrilling. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, and stable. And because of that, they chase sparks while burning down the fire you built together. Perhaps the most brutal reason women struggle to stay loyal is that loyalty requires discipline, and discipline is rare. To remain loyal means to resist temptation, to deny impulses, to value commitment over instant gratification. And in a culture that tells women to follow their hearts and never settle, discipline has been replaced with indulgence. A loyal woman exists, but she is rare precisely because she has trained herself to resist her own impulses, to value principle over emotion. Most women, however, are swept away by whatever they feel in the moment, and because their feelings change like the wind, so does their loyalty. For a man, this is devastating. But it is also the truth you must accept if you want to stop being blindsided by betrayal. Loyalty also requires accountability, and that's something modern culture has stripped away from women almost entirely. Everywhere she turns, she's told, you deserve happiness. If you're unhappy, it's his fault. If you're tempted, it's because he's not enough. If you stray, you are just following your heart. There is little to no cultural voice telling women, resist, endure, stay true. Instead, disloyalty is reframed as empowerment. Leaving a man who gave everything for her is celebrated as choosing herself. Betraying a man who sacrificed for her is excused as growth. And men are left in shock, wondering how loyalty, once a sacred virtue, turned into something optional. The truth? It was never optional, it was abandoned. Another reason women struggle to stay loyal is because loyalty feels invisible to them. Think about it. A woman rarely notices loyalty in the moment. She doesn't wake up every morning and say, he's loyal, I'm grateful. Instead, she takes it for granted. She only notices its absence, not its presence. And this blindness makes her restless. When other men show her attention, she compares that visible excitement to the invisible loyalty you've been giving her, day after day. To her, the attention feels more valuable because it's new, while loyalty feels ordinary because it's constant. What she doesn't realize until it's too late is that loyalty is the foundation upon which her entire security rests. But by the time she recognizes that truth, many men have already walked away. Hypergamy is another force that erodes loyalty. A woman is biologically wired to seek the best option available, someone stronger, more successful, more confident than the man she has now. This doesn't mean every woman cheats, but it does mean every woman evaluates. And in today's world, where options are endless and temptation is everywhere, that evaluation never stops. If a man is not constantly standing firm in his frame, pursuing his purpose, and holding himself to high standards, she begins to believe she can do better. And once that thought enters her mind, her loyalty starts to weaken. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, in the background, until one day she's gone. Not because you failed, but because she let hypergamy dictate her heart. There's also the harsh truth that many women confuse loyalty with convenience. As long as you provide comfort, security, and validation, she stays. But the moment you hit a rough patch, the moment money gets tight, or you get distracted by your mission, or you stop showering her with attention, her version of loyalty collapses. Why? Because her loyalty was never to you. It was to the lifestyle, the attention, the way you made her feel. When those things shift, so does her loyalty. And that's why so many men feel blindsided when women leave during their lowest moments. A loyal woman stays through storms, but many women only stayed because the skies were clear. And when the storm arrived, their so-called loyalty drowned. And here's the paradox, brother. The same woman who struggles to stay loyal will demand loyalty from you without hesitation. She'll test your boundaries. She'll expect you to resist temptation. She'll want you to reject every option except her, yet she will not hold herself to the same standard. Why? Because women often live in emotional double standards. They see their own impulses as natural, but yours as betrayal. And unless a man recognizes this imbalance, he will drive himself crazy trying to make sense of it. That's why awareness is key. You must see reality as it is. Loyalty, for many women, is conditional, situational, and fragile. And once you accept that, you stop expecting perfection. You start observing patterns, and those patterns will always tell you whether she's truly loyal or just loyal for now. A major reason women struggle to stay loyal is because most don't truly understand sacrifice. Loyalty demands sacrifice. It demands choosing the relationship over fleeting thrills, choosing integrity over impulse, choosing consistency over excitement. But modern culture conditions women to avoid sacrifice at all costs. They are told they can have it all, that they can indulge every temptation, keep every option open, and still expect unwavering devotion from men. This mindset destroys loyalty at its root, because the moment sacrifice feels heavy, the moment commitment feels restrictive, she interprets it as oppression instead of honor. And so she runs, not realizing that what she abandoned wasn't chains, it was the foundation of real love. Another subtle but devastating factor is validation addiction. Women are raised in an environment where their beauty, their presence, their attention is constantly rewarded. Compliments from family, likes on social media, attention from men in public. It all creates a cycle of dependence. They begin to crave validation like oxygen, and loyalty often requires them to give that up, to shut down outside attention, to invest exclusively in one man. But many can't do it. Even in committed relationships, they still keep backup options, still post pictures designed for outside attention, still entertain conversations they shouldn't. It doesn't always escalate to betrayal, but the behavior itself reveals the struggle. She can't let go of the world's validation long enough to commit to the man in front of her. This is why you'll often hear women say contradictory things like, "I love stability, but I want excitement," or "I want a man who's loyal, but I want to feel desired by everyone else too." These contradictions reveal the real problem. Many women don't actually know what they want, and even when they do, their emotions shift so often that what they want changes from week to week. Loyalty, however, requires constancy. It requires grounding yourself in a decision and holding that line even when emotions shift. And because women are trained to honor their emotions above all else, their loyalty bends with every emotional wave. A man can give his all, stand firm and remain constant, yet still be betrayed because she was loyal to her feelings, not to him. The harsh reality is that women are rarely taught accountability in love. When a man cheats, society condemns him as disloyal, weak, and unworthy. But when a woman cheats or betrays, the narrative shifts. She wasn't happy. He must have done something wrong. She was finding herself. Excuses are handed to her on a silver platter. And because there are rarely consequences, many women never develop the discipline to stay loyal. They know they can betray and still walk away with sympathy, while men are shamed for the same actions. This double standard erodes female loyalty even further, because without accountability, loyalty becomes an option, not a duty, and once it's optional, it's already broken. But brother, here's the truth that most men miss. A woman's struggle with loyalty is not about you, it's about her. You could be the most devoted man alive. You could give her your best years, your energy, your resources, and she could still betray you if she hasn't cultivated the character to resist temptation. That's why the strongest men stop trying to make women loyal. You cannot build loyalty in someone who doesn't value it. You can only observe her patterns, test her integrity, and decide whether she is worthy of your loyalty in return. Once you understand this, you stop feeling betrayed when she fails, and you start protecting yourself by never giving loyalty to someone who hasn't proven she deserves it. One of the deepest reasons women struggle to stay loyal is because their emotions are tied to novelty. Loyalty requires consistency, but women's emotions crave change. She may love you today, but if the relationship starts to feel routine, her emotions whisper, something's missing. And because she mistakes excitement for love, she begins to believe that her feelings fading means the love is gone. But real love isn't a constant high, it's a steady commitment. Men understand this more naturally, but for women, the loss of butterflies feels like the loss of loyalty. And that's why so many chase new men, not realizing they're just chasing a temporary spark while abandoning the fire that was built to last. This struggle with loyalty is made worse by the abundance of choice. In previous generations, a woman's loyalty was tested within a smaller circle, her community, her workplace, her social group. But today, through social media, dating apps, and endless online connections, she has access to more men in a week than her grandmother met in a lifetime. This abundance of choice doesn't create fulfillment, it creates restlessness. It feeds the illusion that there is always someone better just around the corner, and once that belief takes root, loyalty becomes nearly impossible. Because how can she invest deeply in one man when she believes the perfect man is just a swipe away? Another layer to this issue is the cultural glorification of options. Women are told to never put all their eggs in one basket, to keep their options open until a man proves himself worthy. But that mindset alone is a betrayal. Because loyalty isn't about choosing when it's convenient. It's about closing the door on all other options the moment you commit. Yet for many women, the door is never fully shut. They may commit in words, but in actions, they leave it cracked open. They keep the old flame on social media. They entertain conversations with male friends who clearly want more. They soak in attention from men who circle them like vultures. And while they tell themselves it's harmless, it slowly erodes the foundation of loyalty. Loyalty also demands delayed gratification, and that's something modern culture has trained out of women. Everywhere she looks, she's bombarded with messages that tell her, you deserve it now. Don't wait. Don't settle, don't endure discomfort, but loyalty is all about enduring. It's about holding fast during the rough seasons, staying when things aren't exciting, loving when it doesn't feel like a movie. Many women simply don't have that muscle built anymore. At the first sign of struggle, they see leaving not as betrayal, but as self-care. And so they walk, convincing themselves that abandoning the man who stood by them is somehow noble. But in reality, it only reveals their weakness. The inability to stand firm when the winds of life start to blow. And here's the final bitter truth about loyalty, brother. Many women only value it when they lose it. When you are loyal, they often overlook it, dismiss it, or even resent it. But when you finally pull away, when you stop giving them that steady devotion, when they see you offering it to someone else or holding it back entirely, that's when they realize what they had. Sadly, for many women, the recognition comes too late. They learn the value of loyalty only in its absence. That's why men must be ruthless with their standards. Don't waste your devotion on a woman who can't recognize its worth while she has it. Let her lose it. Let her feel the sting of betrayal by her own choices. And you keep walking loyal to yourself first. When you peel back the layers, the truth is that loyalty is not about feelings, it's about values. And many women today have been taught to prioritize feelings over values. If she feels loved, she stays. If she feels neglected, she leaves. If she feels excited by someone else, she cheats. But values are not supposed to shift with moods. Values are anchors. The reason women struggle with loyalty is because their anchor isn't values, it's emotion. And an anchor made of emotion doesn't hold in a storm. It drags, it shifts, it breaks loose. That's why men who expect women to be loyal forever often end up disappointed. Unless she's built on values stronger than her feelings, her loyalty will never outlast her mood. This is why you see so many women reframe betrayal as self-discovery. They'll say things like, "I wasn't happy anymore," or "I had to find myself." They disguise disloyalty as a journey, but in reality, it's just the inability to hold a commitment past the point of convenience. Loyalty isn't glamorous, and it isn't easy. It requires grit. It requires standing firm when the thrill fades. And because many women have never had to develop grit, they wrap their disloyalty in pretty language to avoid facing the truth. Men who understand this no longer fall for the excuses. They see betrayal for what it is, weakness in character, and instead of trying to fix it, they walk away. Brother, here's the harsh reality. Loyal women do exist, but they are rare. They are not the majority. They are the women who have disciplined themselves, who understand the sacredness of commitment, who have rejected the lies of modern culture. They are the ones who can endure boredom, who can resist temptation, who can honor love even when emotions shift. And those women stand out not because of their beauty, but because of their integrity. That's why you must test loyalty, not assume it. You don't hand over your trust blindly. You watch her patterns, you observe her discipline, you notice how she acts when no one is watching. A woman's loyalty isn't revealed in what she says when she's happy, it's revealed in what she does when she's tempted. The reason this truth feels so heavy for men is because we want to believe in permanence. We want to believe that once she says, "I love you," it will last forever. But reality is different. Women's love is tied to their emotions, and their emotions are fleeting. The moment you accept this, you stop being shocked when loyalty fails. You stop seeing betrayal as an accident, and you start seeing it as a pattern of human behavior. This doesn't mean you hate women, it means you adjust your expectations. You stop demanding perfection, and instead you demand integrity. And if she cannot provide it, you don't collapse. You simply remove yourself, because loyalty is not something you can force. It's either there or it isn't. So why do women struggle to stay loyal? Because true loyalty requires something deeper than feelings. It requires character. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. And in a world that glorifies self-indulgence and constant validation, those traits are becoming rare. But here's where your power lies. You don't waste your energy trying to teach loyalty to someone who doesn't value it. You embody loyalty to yourself first. You hold your standards high. You build your life so strong that her presence is a privilege, not a necessity. And if she fails that standard, you let her go without hesitation. Because the man who remains loyal to his mission will always attract women. But the man who gives loyalty to the wrong woman will lose himself. And losing yourself is the ultimate betrayal.